Today we're talking about a widely beloved platform, Steam. Now, Steam has been in a little bit of controversy regarding their new checkout banner. The new banner essentially states that purchasers do not actually own the thing they are purchasing through Steam. They added this banner that essentially tells the purchaser directly that what they are buying is not a product, it is a license. Now, many people state that this is most likely due to the new California law that is supposedly going to be rolled out in 2025. AB 2426 essentially states that companies that sell digital goods need to make it clear upon purchase that purchased goods are not owned, they are licensed. The reason this law is controversial because it gives far too much power to corporations. It's already bad enough that corporations do this and want to do more of this, i.e. stealing back what they sell to consumers, but it being written into law gives it legitimacy, which a lot of people are not happy about, because if it has legitimacy, then corporations can legitimize stealing from you. Because that's essentially what it is. You pay money, you get something from a company, but then a year later they just turn around and take it because they think, you know what, we don't want people to play this game no more, so we're taking it back. Now, that kind of sucks for gamers because in today's era, basically everything is digital. There's almost no physical copies of anything being sold these days compared to digital copies, and those physical copies require digital download through them to be able to operate, so a company can just disable that digital aspect of that physical copy and your physical copy suddenly becomes a paperweight. The reason I'm talking about this today is because a company called GOG did the business-to-business equivalent of throwing shade. GOG provides offline installers, i.e. they cannot take those back, they will not take those back, and it gives all of that power back to the buyer. So the person who buys the thing owns the thing, instead of essentially renting it just once. It's kind of like leasing, only you pay once and it can be robbed from you. So GOG in a statement says, since checkout banners are trending, we're putting one up ourselves. And the banner they did put up in their checkout reads, a purchase of a digital product on GOG grants you an offline installer which cannot be taken away. This is good for people who have that kind of paranoia that companies are going to take back what we purchase and we're never going to own anything, and we're going to spiral down into a dystopia where the top constantly just forces us to buy the new thing every year and keeps taking the other thing away from us, so we never have money, yada yada yada, rich get richer, poor get poorer kind of thing. I don't think to that extreme it would occur, but it is a reasonable concern. Now, one thing to know is that not all of this is positive, because unlike Steam, which has years and years of history and all sorts, they have a huge gallery of games to pick from. The assortment is practically limitless on Steam. Almost every game you want, you can probably find, as far as Steam is concerned. GOG, even with their new GOG Galaxy platform, their options are fairly limited. This doesn't mean that they only have a fraction of games or they don't have any games at all. It means that a lot of games aren't going to be on there. That doesn't mean a lot of games are either, or a lot of games just won't ever be on there. It could be that games that we are looking for are going to appear there within months, a year, who knows. Now, I went to GOG and looked through it, and roughly half or just under half of the games I own on Steam are available on GOG. Personally, my recommendation would be, if you are concerned with such things as companies taking back ownership of things you purchase, I highly recommend, if you are thinking of purchasing a game, first go to GOG. Check if they stock the game. If they do, just buy it there, and then you have literal unfettered access to that game. You will never have to worry about it being taken back at some point in the future. You'll never have to worry about it being completely disconnected from you or disabled, because it will be yours. Now, the big thing to bear in mind here is just because GOG is doing this doesn't mean that Steam is suddenly evil. No. Steam is still Steam. I, to this day, struggle to think of a time when Steam has had to unilaterally take back games from consumers. I can't remember a single time Steam has retroactively gone and removed games from people's libraries. I could be wrong. I don't have a monster of a Steam library. I have around 50 to 100 games. I'm not entirely sure. But it is important to bear in mind that along with Steam having its history, having its trustworthiness, this new California law, AB 2426, could impact Steam as well. So until now, Steam has been able to pretty much stand their ground and do what they want, which is just provide the games. With AB 2426 coming into play, it's entirely possible that companies start pushing Steam and forcing them to do things that the company wants, hence potentially reducing buyer power and increasing corporation power. In my opinion, it's unlikely, at least in the next decade, at the very minimum, that any such thing occurs. But again, that's an opinion. I could be wrong. I do dislike the law AB 2426 because it gives corporations too much power, and it could potentially cause a reduction in the rights of products that individuals have compared to corporations. It's essentially like you go out and buy a TV, but then Samsung comes to your house and takes your TV from you. And they just say, oh yeah, well, it's technically ours because you only licensed it. It's a very finicky topic. But yeah, my overall recommendation, if you do care about ownership over licensing, which I personally do recommend just to be on the safe side, just download GOG Galaxy. If you want to buy a game, first check with GOG, see if they stock it, because if they do, it means you have endless, unrestricted access to that game, and GOG will not stop you in any way from accessing it. Steam has not done that as far as my knowledge extends, but again, it is a possibility. And at this point in time, all we can really look at is possibilities. There's no actual evidence as to yes or no, to just flat out say, yes, this is going to happen, or no, this is not going to happen. It's a potentiality, so in my opinion, the shrewd and intelligent way to move forward would be to use GOG to just buy those games that you want to buy that are actually available here, just to save yourself the headache and the stress and the concern and the paranoia. But yeah, that's all I had to talk about. See you in the next one. Take care.